So before we begin with our speaker, Ted Murphy, today, I'm just going to give a quick overview of our UMBC Shady Grove operations. So firstly, a little bit of background about the universities at Shady Grove, or USG for short. USG is a regional higher education center in Maryland. It offers 80 degree programs at both the undergraduate and graduate levels across 9 universities that are partnered in the University System of Maryland, all on one convenient campus in Rockville, Maryland. And now location is very important here. USG is located on what's called the I-270 Technology Corridor, which has lots of local industry and tons of opportunities for students and graduates alike. We are only located 18 miles from DC, which can be reached directly via the Metro Red Line, which can be accessed at the Shady Grove Metro Station, which is only 4 miles from campus. USG is considered a full-service non-residential campus. So this means that basically it offers all of the same services that a traditional campus would have, everything except dormitories. This is considered a commuter-only campus. So here you can see these are the 9 universities that are in the University System of Maryland that are partnered at USG. So all of these universities offer programs that you can attend at USG. And here is just a quick map for your locational reference. Our Shady Grove operation is about 40 miles from the home campus, which is in Baltimore County, which, as you can see, is right outside of Baltimore City. But here we are much closer to Washington, D.C., as I said earlier. So at UMBC, at the universities at Shady Grove, you are earning a true UMBC degree. There's no asterisk or addendum about the campus you attended or where you earned the degree. It's all the same courses, and many of the same professors teach at both campuses as well. So really, it's the true UMBC experience. At USG, it offers all of the same resources that, as I said earlier, a traditional campus would have. And on top of that, you still have access to all of UMBC home campus resources as well, including things like career prep, counseling, and scholarships, which I'll touch on a little bit more in a second. So at USG, you're paying the same tuition rate that the students at home campus pay, but although the fee structure around courses is slightly different. And when it comes to scholarship opportunities, you'll be able to apply to scholarship opportunities through UMBC, as well as scholarship opportunities specific to the universities at Shady Grove. So really, you have double the scholarship opportunities that you would have if you are a main campus only student. So here is the overview of the degree programs that we offer at the universities at Shady Grove, which includes our 8 undergraduate degrees, and of course, our 4 graduate degrees, which include our MPS in biotech, the MS in cybersecurity, MPS in data science, and MPS in IO psychology. As well as on top of this, we offer several post-baccalaureate certificate programs as well. So as a special highlight, I also want to go over our regional graduate tuition rate. So as you may or may not know, the tuition rate differs whether you are a Maryland resident or a non-Maryland resident. Maryland residents actually are charged a lower tuition rate. However, through UMBC, students in specific neighboring states and counties are actually eligible for in-state tuition, even if they aren't living in Maryland. This includes any resident of DC or Delaware and residents in Pennsylvania and Northern Virginia in the counties that are listed here. And the link at the bottom there has more information about the tuition in general. And so that's all I'm going to say in my quick little intro here. If you'd like any more information about our programs or applying or anything like that, feel free. You can scan the QR code on screen now or follow that first link at the bottom, which will take you to our Contact Us form, which we highly encourage you to fill out. If you have any questions, our team will get back to you. And if you complete the form, you are automatically entered into our system to receive automated email information about upcoming events and deadlines and things like that. And at the very bottom there is our general Shady Grove email for any program questions at all. There we go, stop sharing. And now I'm going to introduce our speaker for today, Professor Ted Murphy. So Ted Murphy is a seasoned cyber and professional privacy legal professional with over 20 years of experience in a myriad of legal and operational roles. Ted currently works as the manager for security and privacy compliance for a large international law firm where he operationalizes risk management processes involving privacy, security, and AI. In addition to his law degree, Ted holds a PhD in engineering management with emphasis in information security and 5 information privacy certifications through ISACA and IA Security MPP. Ted enjoys learning and has taught a course in cybersecurity law and policy for UMBC for the last few years. His dual perspective in law and operations provides an additional layer of understanding to this continuously evolving field. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ted so he can take it away with his speech. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank UMBC for having me. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. The next 45 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about empowering individuals with knowledge on digital safety, privacy, and cybersecurity, building an AI ethics foundation for the everyday user, you and me. So let's go ahead and get started. As Chris mentioned, I am an attorney by trade, and I think it's only fitting that I start this presentation with this. Knowledge is power. One of the things that they teach you in law school, actually, they really drill it into you, is this concept of the Socratic method, teach yourself, which I'll be honest, at the time, didn't really appreciate. It's only when I became a teacher that I really started to appreciate this method, this approach to teaching. Teach yourself, always ask why. So when I was asked to go ahead and put something together for this presentation, I said, you know what, this is a good way to segue into it. Socratic method in AI ethics. What are some things that you would need to know? Your expectations when it comes to this technology. AI, I'm sure all of us know and feel it, is permeating everything in our lives, personal or professional. We're seeing it all over the place. Now, your expectations when it comes to this type of technology is to understand what the technology, what data is being used, the minimum required, how it'll be used, transparency, and how it'll be protected, the security of whatever information is involved. Now, my area of specialization or expertise, if you will, is privacy. I'm a privacy pundit. When it comes to new technology impacting privacy, I want to know everything there is to know about it. I want to know it. It doesn't mean I've actually accomplished that, because this type of technology in particular is escalating. It's evolving rapidly. It doesn't mean that you can't learn some basics about it. It's just you can't know it all, because it's going to evolve very quickly. So with that, your expectations should be, as I've stated, and then also applying the Socratic method. This, teach yourself, always ask why, asking the right questions. Now, all 3 of these that I'm going to go through are actually things that you can ask an organization that's providing a tool. It's also stuff that you can ask yourself, always have in the back of your mind, asking yourself, am I doing the right thing? That kind of thing. Asking the right questions. Socratic method promotes continuous questioning of technology, of the use of technology, enhancing privacy and cybersecurity awareness among you as the user or the organization. Always ask why. What are you doing with this data? How are you doing it? When, where, why? All of these questions. You should have these questions at the base of your mind. Building an ethical foundation. Now, we're looking at it from the perspective of the user. User is looking at an organization. What are you or your organization doing? But you're also looking at it from internally. What am I going to do to develop my own ethical foundation when it comes to the use of this technology? By encouraging reflection, users build strong ethical principles, guiding responsible decision-making in AI and technology. It's true, but it's true of any type of technology that we use. Be ethical about it. Well, how do you be ethical? We're going to talk about that. But here's the deal. The third thing, the third prong, if you will, taking responsible actions. Once you have that ethical foundation, taking responsible actions. Organization, are you using it responsibly? Here are the things that I'm going to look at. I'm going to be asking questions about. Are you being responsible when you take action? But the same thing applies to you. Am I taking responsible action when I'm utilizing this technology? Because I'm aware of how it could impact security and also the privacy of my information. Now, what you see below that prong, this method empowers users to act responsibly. And I emphasize responsibility. Be responsible, but also be thoughtful in this type of environment. And it has broader implications. It's not only your internal moral compass when it comes to this stuff, it has benefits overall. Everyone following the same mantra when it comes to this stuff. Next slide. Understanding privacy in the digital age. Privacy, massive concept. In the course that I teach, we talk about this ad nauseum. But the point is, privacy in the digital age is a lot of it comes down to your personal definition. If you go and you look online, please define privacy. If you Google it, you'll come up with about 1.5 million hits. The point here is this: everyone has their own definition for privacy, but the core fundamental issues when it's digitized in a digital environment haven't really changed. So what are they? Understand privacy in the digital age. Obviously, you have to define it, but let's take a look at the definition. And again, it really is, it's specific to you. Digital privacy involves managing the collection, use, and sharing of your personal information online. Your digital dossier, you want to make sure that you have that privacy. It's a right, your right to privacy. It's a fundamental right, and you want it guarded, protected. And that's the second part, securing it. Privacy protection, protecting digital privacy safeguards your personal freedom, your fundamental right to privacy, protection of the self, who you are. You don't want all of your information out there for a lot of different reasons. It also prevents data misuse. Common threats to personal privacy, data breaches or data incidents, however it's defined. Unauthorized access to personal data can lead to significant privacy violations, financial loss. That's a diplomatic way to say it could ruin your life. And it could be internal, someone on the inside of your organization or outside of the organization. It doesn't have to be this nefarious individual on the outside. It could also be something that happens on the inside. And guess what? A lot of these breaches, actually, 70% or more are inside occurrences. Website trafficking, another threat. Websites track user behavior to collect data, often without clear consent, posing privacy risks. Yes, not only privacy risks, also security risks. Here's the thing, website tracking. A lot of organizations want to have this in order to build a behavioral dossier on you. They want to know how you think, what it is that your desires are in order to sell you things. It's a marketing tactic. Identity theft is one of the largest and fastest growing crimes in the US, and it has been for the last few years. Anyone that has had their credit card compromised knows what I'm talking about here. It could be any number of things, but identity theft, there are great costs associated with that. Great costs, time, effort, money, trying to clear your name if your identity is compromised. Criminals steal personal information all the time to impersonate you, impersonate me, commit fraud. So it's a big issue. Unauthorized data sharing. Sharing data, personal data without permission, it exposes individuals to misuse and privacy breaches. Obviously, it does. So these are just some of the examples here. Now, here are some real life examples of how this loss of privacy occurs, everyday circumstances. Many of us have social media accounts. It wasn't really until I finished my degree, or actually going through the degree, research, that I realized just the magnitude of the data that's out there that's being harvested, collected, whatever word you want to use. And a lot of people, a lot of the younger generation especially, love social media. And it's a means, it's a mechanism to keep up with family and friends. But along with that ease, with that wonderful technological tool, there's also some bad elements to it as well, which is you've got an aggregation of your information that if it's compromised, however, you could have a real potential problem on your hands. Any number of the easiest idea or the easiest example that I can come up with is the family that goes off on vacation. They're having a wonderful time. And then they post something on social media about their vacation while they're on vacation. They also are friends with a great deal of people who may be friends of friends. In any event, that information is out there. Oh, they're having a wonderful time on vacation, but guess what? That's a golden opportunity to go and burglarize their home. So oversharing on social media, that's a very quick example. Too much information on social media, it can expose you to these privacy risks, identity theft, and the example that I gave, actual real organization of your home. Unsecured Wi-Fi use. It's very easy to go in airports, for example, or even the coffee shop, offer free Wi-Fi. It's great. You could use it. Actually, there's a downside to it as well. Unsecured Wi-Fi networks, it can lead to middle attacks, data interception, and unauthorized access of your personal information. These are just two examples. Another example, the apps that we use on our phones here. Many of us will, hey, this is a wonderful app. I'll go ahead and download that. I'll start using it. Many of us don't go through the steps to look at, well, exactly how is it working? What does it need to access in order for it to perform its functions? It may collect a whole lot more data than you think. And I guarantee you, if you were to go to your smartphone right now and start looking at the settings, you'd be a little bit surprised on a lot of the information that is being collected on the various apps that you have there already. Everyday essentials, basic cybersecurity concepts and terms, especially in an AI environment. It hasn't changed all that much. You still have to have an awareness of what is out there. And what I have here are some things to really consider. Common cybersecurity threats, malicious software, phishing are common threats that you'll see online that can compromise system security and also your personal information. The methods you should know. How do you protect your information? Encryption safeguards are out there, encoding data, prevent unauthorized access. Now, when I'm going through this slide, I think it's very important to point out something, and actually my daughter had pointed this out to me. She said, that's a lot, but I really don't know exactly what that means. And I said to her, well, it's like this. And I'll go ahead and say it as I said to her. You don't have to be a mechanic in order to drive a car. But in this day and age, especially when it comes to generative AI, you have to be a whole lot closer to a mechanic than you have before. So with that, the third thing, essential everyday concepts and terms, access control tools, firewalls. Know what a firewall is. Two-factor authentication is something else that you should know. As a security, controlling access. If you, and I'm sure a lot of us have seen, especially in banking, where you type in your password and they'll send you a use-only code one time. It's available for 5 minutes and you type that in. That's what we're talking about. That's just an example. Best practices for protecting personal devices. Again, these are not things that are real new. These should be pretty straightforward. Regular software updates. Keep your software updated. Don't think it's one time and it's done. The risks change. And that means your defenses should change as well. Got to keep it updated. There are settings on your devices that you can automatically do so. Regular software updates is extremely important. Using strong passwords, extremely important. Don't use password for your password. Antivirus software should be kept up to date. You need to install it and keep it up to date because it helps remove a lot of these threats that you see on your devices. And above all else, avoid suspicious links. We'll get into that as far as the phishing attacks are concerned. The next slide. If you have any suspicion or an inkling at all that what you're receiving isn't from your friend or a bank or whatever, trust your gut. Always pick up the phone and say, hey, did you send this? This looks odd. And go from there. Recognizing and responding to online threats. Again, identify phishing emails. Phishing, they're trying to get you to do something that you ordinarily would not. Learn to recognize phishing emails. Got to check the URL, the banner up top. Hover over it. See if it really is from the organization or the individual that you think it's from. There might be a misspelling. Anything in the overall composition of the page may just set something off. This doesn't look right. I need to check. And that's a very good policy to check. If you have any doubt whatsoever, check. Check fake websites, verify website authenticity, checking the URL, which is what I just mentioned, security certificates, and just the overall look of the page. And then also take the next step, report and block threats. If you're an organization, report that. This is suspicious. I'm not sure what to make of this. What do you think? That way you're covered as far as your personal information is concerned. All right, the role of AI, artificial intelligence, how it can enhance or threaten your privacy. Well, bearing in mind, generative AI is a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool that all of us are using now. It's convenient. It's wonderful. All of these things, accolades that I could pour on artificial intelligence. But I say so with little asterisks at the end. I can say all of these wonderful things about AI, but I need to say it with a little asterisk. That little asterisk hopefully they can be incredibly wonderful. They can provide all kinds of things for you, but you need to be careful. Privacy enhancement. What could AI do? It can enhance privacy, improving threat detection, strengthening data protection mechanisms, a number of things that it can do to assist privacy. The flip side of that, privacy threats can threaten privacy through increased surveillance, misuse of personal data without ethical controls. And that's kind of the core concept or the crux of this presentation, is really talking about this overall framework of how you go about using this stuff, having that fundamental basis with which to draw on. There have to be guardrails in place, even if they're in your own mind, that you've got to have this in order to use this responsibly. And how you go about doing that is, part of it is not only asking an organization to be transparent. What is it that you're doing? How are you doing? Why are you doing this? All of this stuff regarding this use of this data, but also internally on how it is I'm going to utilize this tool in my own life, et cetera, how this framework evolves in your own mind. So it can do all of these things, wonderful benefits, but it's also some detractions as well that you need to be very careful in its use. AI-powered cybersecurity tools and their benefits. The next slide. We do wonderful things. It can really help because AI doesn't take breaks. Human beings don't operate 24/7. These types of tools do. Anomaly detection can rapidly identify unusual patterns indicating potential security threats, breaches, etc. Can prevent attacks, proactively block cyber attacks, protecting data, network integrity, and automated defenses. Automation security response, everything that you see here without human intervention. Wonderful things, but it's that human element that we started with when we talk about this Socratic method. Teach yourself. Always ask why, because this stuff doesn't operate in a vacuum. It must be integrated with humanity. Risks of AI misuse, unintended consequences. Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? This stuff, these are just a very broad, very quick. Deep fake technology dangers. AI-generated deep fakes can manipulate reality, spread misinformation, and it poses serious ethical challenges. I'm sure many of us know the music star Taylor Swift. And she's been a victim any number of times now when it comes to the deepfake technology. That's just a broad example of this superstar. And you've got a lot of people that are going to bat for her. But the point I'm making here is you've got someone that has a great deal of resources that is able to do stuff about. this type of abuse. But the fact is, this technology impacts each and every one of us. All of us should care because, deep fake technology could impact every single one of us without those resources, which begs the question and the need, more importantly than that, for having certain guardrails in place. If not laws, which are usually take 7 years to catch up with technology, this technology, I'm not sure that's accurate. And I'd argue that it's not. But in the absence of that, of the actual laws, there need to be guardrails in place, ethical frameworks for how this stuff is going to be used. All right, biased decision-making. That's a big one. AI systems may perpetuate or amplify biases. We like to think human beings, you are what you eat, right? Same thing with this type of technology. It is what it is being fed. And that comes with a lot of the warts and all. Someone once said to me, AI is better at being me than I am. And I smiled because that's true, but it also comes with the Achilles heel of the equation. What makes us human is we're flawed. AI is flawed as well because it's being fed the same stuff we are, so to speak. Biased decision-making. Privacy invasions. My big thing, privacy. I'm a big fan of privacy. I like my privacy. This type of technology, misuse can lead to breaches of privacy. Your personally identifiable information, which online, aggregated, is you. Collecting and exploiting personal data without your consent. Those are big issues. Organizational ethical AI foundations, also known as my big question, always ask why. I had someone earlier in my life when I was explaining my philosophy, always ask why. This always ask why predates AI. Because I'm big about, well, why is it like that? I always want to know how things work. What we've done here, what I've done is always ask why. That person came back and said, well, that's great, but then you need to always ask why, and then so what? Once you have an explanation, okay, you have an explanation, but so what? So there has to be a purpose. The reason, okay, is it a logical reason? Is there an actual relevant reason to that response? Transparency in AI. Transparency. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Ensures AI systems open and understandable to users. It fosters trust and clarity. If you're asking questions of an organization that's bringing this technology forward, that's allowing you, authorizing you to utilize their technology, we want to know, well, what exactly are you doing? How are you doing it? Because it fosters trust. If we understand what you're doing, if you're transparent about it, if you're not hiding it close to the vest, it makes things a lot easier to trust. Fairness in AI addresses bias prevention. Equitable treatment. Are you collecting data? Is it fair? Are the outputs fair? What the results, the decisions, are they fair? Groups, individuals. How are you arriving at that decision? Respect for privacy. Again, I'm a big privacy pundit. Respecting privacy involves protecting user data and ensuring secure handling of that information. Here's the thing, that all of these could be things that you're asking internally, not only external to an organization, of how its tool or service is being conducted or used or provided, what's going on the back end. That's stuff that you could utilize on the inside as well. Accountability in AI. Accountability means responsible design, use of AI with mechanisms to address errors and impacts. That's actually not something that you can use internally, but that one is how accountable is the organization? How accountable are they in providing this and making sure that if something is wrong, they're calibrating and ensuring that it's correct. Making your ethical choices while using digital tools. This is wholly for your use. This is how you develop your own internal compass when it comes to this stuff. Consider the digital impact. You, me, all of us that are utilizing this technology, you got to think about the consequences of your actions on others in society. Well, how are you going to know what those actions are? Or rather, you're going to have to understand what the technology does in order to understand the consequences. The logical conclusion of, okay, if I use this, what could happen? What's more than likely going to happen if I do it this way? So users must think about the consequences of their actions, not only their consequences, but also how it impacts others. That's how you develop a framework, a societal framework, when it comes to utilizing this stuff. Your own internal compass is one way to look at it, but also, okay, how do I go about developing my own internal compass? There should be some broader scope. Here's some things to consider. And overall, we hope, at least that's the goal, that society in general will have these fundamental factors overall on how people utilize this type of technology. But that really does remain to be seen. Avoid harmful content. Refrain from sharing content that could harm or offend others in digital spaces. Think before you click. Think before you share. You might think it's funny internally, but it may really impact someone on the outside, someone that may continue to share whatever it is that you shared. Respect privacy. My big thing, always protect and respect not only your concept of privacy, understand that your privacy is your right, but also that other people around you, in your community, and society as a whole, in the world, have a fundamental right to privacy. Protect and respect people's privacy when interacting or sharing information online. Discretion is the better part of valor. All of these cliches, it applies equally to this type of situation and this technology. Have awareness of what this stuff can do, and use discretion when you are using it on your own. Protecting your rights and the rights of others. Personal privacy defense. Protecting personal privacy is essential to maintain individual privacy in the digital world. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what I just said right before I clicked onto this slide. It is. You got to defend it. It is a defensive posture. It's essential. It's not just, oh, it's the right thing to do. No, it really is essential. It's a fundamental, foundational right of humanity and arguably other species as well. It's fundamental. Everyone needs their privacy. Ethical digital policies. Policies, not only having something in writing or an overarching rule, themes of how you're going to approach privacy and ethics online. That's great. Advocating for fair and transparent policies promotes this ethical behavior in digital environments. Well, it's not only internal to you, it's also advocating overall how, these are the things that we consider to be the most important as far as ethical behavior is. And it will continue to evolve over time, but we're already seeing application of ethics because this is a tool. It's just an application of ethics, what we as society view as important as far as ethical behavior as applied to this type of technology. It's the same stuff. A lot of the stuff that we've heard, discretion is a better part of valor. We've heard that growing up. We've heard that throughout the ages. Be discreet. Be conscious. Be aware of how this could impact others. Why would I say that? I say that because education is such an important part of this stuff. I used at the beginning of this presentation the fact that you don't have to be a mechanic in order to drive a car by analogy, but you got to be a whole lot closer, again, by analogy, to that mechanic phase when it comes to this type of technology. Keep up with technology. Keep up with how things are happening. It's insufficient simply to use the technology without any awareness of what can happen as far as an ethics is concerned and otherwise, especially as it pertains to privacy and cybersecurity. Having that awareness and keeping that and it's going to change. What's the foundation? What's the threshold of what you need to know is going to change as this technology changes. But you start somewhere. Rights for everyone. Ensuring digital rights are respected fosters a safe and inclusive online community. And it does. Having this digital rights, but not only having it, operationalizing it, making sure that everyone has a safe environment with which to play. What you can do, these are the same that you see, setting privacy controls, managing data sharing on your digital devices. You can go in and you can change those settings, understanding permissions. Also going through, as I alluded to earlier, and checking the app that you just checked to see, oh, wait, this is actually collecting a whole lot more than I thought, or I really didn't check. I should check. That should be at the start. It shouldn't be at the end. Whenever you're downloading an app, make sure, check, see what this device is, or rather this app is actually collecting. You may have an opportunity to turn those off. Evaluating trustworthy apps and service, check the app credibility. Read user reviews. Check their privacy policy. Make sure that it's transparent, the language there. You might have a 40-page privacy policy. The organization may find it useful, but I can guarantee you that users, especially, how many of us, if we were to take a poll, would actually go and read a privacy policy without being prompted to do so? And the thing is, the vast majority of us don't even read the privacy policy. And it used to be because it was so legalese, you didn't want to read it. But now it's gotten a lot better, but people still don't read it because they're so invested in their life and getting an answer rather than looking at the precautions first. It requires a change in mindset in order to operate safely. Staying informed about threats and ethics, continuing cyber learning. You're constantly learning, you never stop. Ethics in AI, stay informed about AI ethics to ensure that responsible development and use. And it's not just your own ethical obligation here, internally, your own moral compass. It's also having the ability to get out there and address overall policy when it comes to this, societal policy. Adapting to digital changes, flexibility, adaptability, change is part of life. You have to change with the circumstances, change with the technology. Here are the conclusions. Understanding privacy concepts, even the fundamental privacy concepts that I shared here, that apply equally with AI technology. You got to know what the privacy concepts are. Same thing with cybersecurity awareness. Having a foundation in cybersecurity will help a great deal when it comes to operationalizing this stuff. And then also look at AI role and ethics as well. Understanding the impacts, understanding the technology, even if you're not a quote unquote mechanic, at least get into a certain degree beyond just utilizing a tool. So you understand, oh, this could really damage me or others. So you can utilize the information, or rather the tool, in a responsible manner. All right, this is where I talk about my daughter again, about her incredible comment she made when I asked her how was school. She said, fine. I said, can be a little bit more specific and define. She said, well, and she started talking about her day. I said, okay. And then she mentioned, of all things, artificial intelligence. She said, I don't like it. And I said, okay, that's a bit different. Why don't you like it? The point I'm making here is it segues into why enroll in this master's program. The big white elephant in the room, as my daughter so eloquently pointed out, was everyone is using it and they aren't even learning how to think for themselves. And that was such a profound impact I needed to include it in this presentation. Because it's true. She's saying from her perspective, she's a child, how kids are utilizing this information, utilizing this technology, and they're losing focus on actually learning how to figure things out, how to ask why. Well, why is it like that? I just want a quick answer. Okay, but you don't know how to figure this out. Why enroll in a master's program such as this? It's going to develop your critical thinking and analysis skills. That is incredibly important, not only for a child, but also for adults as well. The technology is there. It is incredibly easy. It's a very easy to just want an answer. But we're using it as just a training wheels. We're using it we'll just use it as a crutch. And that's fine. But what is going to make you stand out in the crowd? Developing critical analysis, thinking, skills, complements. You're going to be able to utilize this tool to a far greater degree, and it's going to take you places a lot faster, and it'll make you a whole lot more successful because of it. Developing a flexible, adaptable foundation, your approach to learning. Learn how to learn. Understand the guardrails with this type of technology. Understand the limitations. Sky's the limit. Okay, but we haven't gotten there yet. So human beings are social collaborative creatures. That's a big one. Collaborative creatures. We socialize. We learn more from each other rather than expecting the big white elephant in the room, AI, to teach us everything. AI is a great tool, but don't lose sight of your humanity along the way. The biggest one here, and we can go through, you can go through the rest of these on your own, but personal growth, cross-pollination, it's complementing your education, but it's also developing your foundation in this stuff: ethics, bias, accountability, governance. All of these things that are being taught at the university in some manner, in some fashion, in each of these classes, it leads to responsible AI development and deployment. It can also enhance your career prospects and earnings as well. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer as much as I can here. And for more information, you could talk to Dr. Behnam Shariati. And I thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thank you so much, Ted. So yeah, if anyone has any questions for our presenter at this time, feel free. You can go and unmute and say it out loud, or if you prefer, you can put it in the chat as well, and we'll read it out as well. Oh yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Does Mr. Murphy, do you have a favorite website for following the latest and most important news related to AI?
Do I have a favorite one? No. That's a great question. But if it helps, I'm always looking, because it seemingly changes, it evolves every day. But as I stated, this stuff is changing so rapidly. It's a bit unnerving, the stuff that I have found out on just how much it's permeating every aspect of our lives, if that helps. I guess the question I can switch back to you is, do you have a favorite?
No, I don't, but I have learned that there are, if you search, for example, on Google or anywhere really, if you search like AI safety, AI risks, AI and society, AI and humanity, you'll find some organizations that are dedicated to really analyzing the risks to society and humanity, and, working groups, you could say, or, thought groups in different countries around the world, where you basically just kind of really thinking critically and trying to establish guidelines and then like ethical boundaries, following the trends, because it's moving so fast. You really need people keeping their eye on that.
Absolutely.
So if you just search for that, you'll see that there's like these budding groups, that are primarily concerned citizens. Yeah.
I think it's entirely appropriate that those groups exist first and foremost, and they should be encouraged.
Any other questions? I know Cash had a question in chat, but my associate Chelsea just answered as well about our bachelor's degrees in computer science, which does also offer a cybersecurity track. Well then, if there are no other questions for our presenter at this time, I am going to quickly share my screen again, just with some final reminders and deadlines for anyone who might be interested in UMBC's graduate degrees in cybersecurity. So again, just sharing this slide here. Once again, a QR code and the link to fill out our contact us form, as well as our general email address where you can send any inquiries or questions you have about our programs. And here are some next steps about the application deadlines and process. So right now we are still accepting applications for our graduate programs for the spring 2026 semester until December 1st. But if that's too soon, if you're interested in next fall 2026, those applications will be open until August 1st. Now, those are the domestic deadlines. If you are an international student, I have noted the deadlines at the bottom. For spring 26, the deadline has been extended to November 1st. And then for fall 26, it is May 1st of next year. So if you are interested, you can review the admission requirements at the link there and navigate to the cybersecurity page. I've also linked it in the QR code there, which will take you right to the cybersecurity page. You can apply online through the link in the second block there. You'll be required to submit all materials by the appropriate deadline. And this typically will include the entirety of the online application, a current resume or CV, your official copies of your undergraduate transcripts, and then a statement of purpose indicating your goals and wants for the program. And letters of recommendation are not required, but they are recommended if you are interested in attaching them. And then after you submit your application, you can expect to hear back with a decision between 2 and 4 weeks. And finally, this is a save the date for everyone in attendance here. We are having actually a second cybersecurity speaker event that's being held next month on Saturday, November 5th at the same time, 10 to 11 a.m. And that QR code there will take you to the link where you can register if you're interested. Our speaker for that session will be Mr. Jeannie Khalsa. And there at the bottom is just a quick overview of what he plans to talk about at this event as well. So that's all that I have. So if no one has any other questions for me or for Mr. Murphy, that's all we have for today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.